shocking footage of grieving parents who attacked the killers in court. A man punches the defendant, a father cries out, and a woman lashes out in court. Grieving the loss of a loved one is tough as it is, but coming face to face with a person responsible must be excruciating. Today, we bring you 3 different courtroom attacks and the sad stories behind them. Furious father. This father turned violent during the hearing of the man who murdered his 3-year-old son and his mother. Tonio Hughes, the father of 3-year-old Nylo, was traumatized once he found out how he passed. He decided to take matters into his own hands when he charged down the courtroom and started pummeling the accused 22-year-old Desean Brown.
And the whole attack was caught on camera. Video from the courtroom shows the dad get up out of his seat. You see him there circled in red, charges the defense table, punching the suspect right in the face.
Hughes is quickly tackled by the courtroom security in seconds and taken to the ground, but his rage didn't stop, as it took the cops about 5 minutes to calm him down.
Security guards quickly moving in. The dad gets off several more blows before he's tackled.
According to the prosecutors, Brown fatally stabbed Hughes' girlfriend, Nylo Lattimore, in December 2020 and tossed their 3-year-old child Nylo into the Ohio River. The boy was alive when he was thrown and had died an excruciating death. Video from the courtroom shows Hughes sitting in the last seat. The court security wasn't expecting an attack like this, as nobody even noticed him get up and start running towards Brown. As he charged towards the defense table, a female officer is seen taking notice of what Hughes is about to do and quickly runs towards him. Hughes furiously starts punching Brown in the face, while more officers start gathering, trying to pull Hughes away from Brown. Hughes gets in several more blows before he gets tackled to the ground by 2 female officers.
Base, can we get back up in 560 now?
While on the ground, we see Brown standing up, as if mocking the helpless dad. The prosecutors move Brown away from Hughes in an attempt to calm down the grieving father. He was then handcuffed and removed from the court by the 2 deputies present at the court. In the full 5-minute video, we can hear the deputies talking to Hughes, trying to calm him down. Brown looks Hughes in the eyes, attempting to taunt him. The lawyer sees this and makes the defendant sit down in his chair while handcuffed. The deputy instructs Hughes not to move, as he was still trying to power his way towards Brown.
Stay there. Don't
Have him
move.
sit down, Scott.
Don't move.
A few seconds later, one of the deputies requests the judge to hit the panic button. We see one deputy holding down Hughes by the neck, while the other one was pushing her weight onto his right arm, completely immobilizing him. Another police officer reaches the scene and lends them his handcuffs. They instruct Hughes to roll over and put handcuffs on him. They then proceed to lift him up, and as he stands, he again proceeds to stare at Brown, thinking about hurting the man who murdered his child. Meanwhile, backup arrives and the male officers get a hold of Hughes as the female officers now proceed to re-handcuff Brown. As Hughes was pushing himself towards Brown, a female lawyer advises Hughes to stop. Seeing as he's not willing to stop, the 4 officers push Hughes to the ground. Having lost control over Hughes, Brown is immediately removed from the courtroom by a female officer. It takes the officer another minute to apprehend Hughes completely. A crowd starts gathering, and the judge orders the public to stop talking and sit down. Hughes is finally lifted up and calmed down.
Dude ain't even in here.
I'm good. I want you to be okay.
Desean 2560 update.
He apologizes for his actions and is advised by the other officers in the room to take a minute and calm down. He was then taken off the courtroom and given a 7-day sentence at the Hamilton County Justice Center. The sheriff responded to the events, would like to emphasize that this behavior will not be tolerated in the courthouse. Unfortunately, this case from 2020 is still ongoing. If they want the penalty case, there's no shortcuts. It will take a long time. And hopefully, that'll mean it'll be done properly the first time. We hope Hughes gets the long-awaited justice he deserves. A father's agony.
You done murdered my son, man, for nothing? When he was trying to get away from you.
We're in the Miami-Dade County Criminal Court for a hearing related to the murder trial of Lucas Kendall.
The loss of a child is heartbreaking to any family. What's worse is when the one responsible pleads insanity to get out of prison and go to a much less strict mental facility instead. This is Lucas Kendall, a security guard who opened fire at unarmed people one night in 2012, killing Kijuan Bird.
Well, the first thing we needed to address is he's been restored to competency.
Correct, Your Honor. There are two evaluations from Dr. Luis Quintana and Dr. Richardson. They both find that he's competent.
Kendall's just been deemed competent to stand trial, where he faces charges of second-degree murder and attempted murder.
While listening to the details of the senseless act, the victim's father, Donald Bird, could not contain his anger and started screaming at the defendant. Security guards and family members rushed to calm him down, but were unable.
He don't need to be laying no mental hospital. He need to go to prison, man. Come on, church. He want to play crazy. He wasn't crazy when he killed my son, man.
Lucas Kendall was a security guard at the famous club Rolex. Kijuan and some of his friends were partying there the night of the incident. At one point, they came out of the club for a smoke. Kendall approached them, dressed in a security outfit, with a baton, gloves, a knife, ammunition, and his gun. The friends wanted to go back inside after the smoke, which caused Kendall to argue with them. The argument escalated, and Kendall shot at them without any warning. Kijuan's friends scattered as he ran to hide behind a truck during the shootout. As he was attempting to hide, Kendall shot him in the back several times, and he was left there to die. During his courtroom hearing, Kendall represented himself and refused the help of any lawyers. He pleaded insanity, and that's when Kijuan's father confronted him, as the video shows.
Yeah, but my son is dead, man. My son is dead. He need to go to prison. He don't need to be laying no mental hospital. He need to go to prison, man. Come on, church. He want to play crazy. He wasn't crazy when he murdered my son, man. He wasn't crazy then, but he crazy now.
It was at this point that the courtroom security got involved and requested him not to make a scene. Even his family members were telling the guards to take him out to calm down.
All of a sudden, he crazy now? You want to lay in a mental hospital? You done murdered my son, man, for nothing? When he was trying to get away from you. You was trying to get away from you, man. And you kept shooting him while his back was under the truck. You kept shooting him, man. You kept shooting him in his back. His back was turned to you, man. He was trying to get away from you. And you murdered him, man, like that. You murdered him, man, like that. Why you doing it like that, man? And you want to play crazy, man? He ain't crazy. He ain't crazy, man.
Donald's family and court security escorted him out of the courtroom while his wife is seen crying. According to the autopsy report, the shots came quickly. He had shot Kijuan 8 times in total. In Kendall's words, he thought they were armed and one of them shouted, "I'm gonna kill you." But according to others, that was a lie.
While working as an armed security guard at a Miami strip club, Kendall approached 2 men who were sitting inside a truck in the parking lot. Kendall claims one of the men threatened him. He says he also believed one of them had a weapon. So he opened fire, killing one of them with 8 shots, 4 of them in the back. Both men were unarmed.
Lucas Kendall was diagnosed with several mental disorders, including impulse control disorder, antisocial personality disorder, unspecified schizophrenia spectrum, and alcohol use disorder, among others. However, throughout the trial, Kendall did not present any evidence or defend himself. Therefore, the court did not accept his request and charged Kendall for second-degree murder with firearm and attempted murder. He was sentenced to life in prison.
At trial, Kendall decided to represent himself and attempted to use the stand your ground defense.
So the trajectory coming from outside the vehicle would have to come in that downward.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you're referring to.
He was convicted on both charges and is now serving a life sentence in the Florida prison system.
Lock me up! Lock me up! Lock me up! Why did you let me get to him? He's sick!
It's already miserable enough that a parent has to lose their child, but seeing the murderer stand on the podium and laugh is another level of disrespect. The clip we just showed you was from the Kentucky courtroom, where a mother lashed out after the accused murderer started taunting her.
Another part of it is, if we have a concern, what's the alternative? The pros and the cons. Ma'am,
Stop it. Look at me.
ma'am,
He keeps turning.
ma'am, I told you once before.
Elizabeth Marie, a single mother, lost 2 of her sons when a deranged psychopath, Bryce Rhodes, stabbed her children to death when they declined to join his gang after becoming a witness to one of his crimes.
LP detectives interview a 15-year-old suspect in the murders of 2 teenage brothers, and what he tells them is a story that would shock most.
As WDRB's Kyle Mitchell explains, the young teen says he was not only a witness to the murder, but forced to take part.
Bryce Rhodes denied any knowledge of what happened to 14-year-old Larry Ordway and 16-year-old Maurice Gordon when police interviewed him on May 24th.
Where they run away to? Like,
well, if we knew that, man, we wouldn't be here.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I wish I could help. Knew where they was. I don't.
She lost 16-year-old Maurice Gordon and 14-year-old Larry Ordway at the same time. Their bodies were later found burned and dumped behind an abandoned house. The murderer didn't even show mercy towards the children. One can only imagine her grief bottled up and waiting to burst. Initially, she had seated quietly in the audience, but after about 20 minutes into the hearing, the murderer looked at her and laughed. This made Marie snap, and the police struggled to keep her away from the defendant.
Lock me up! Lock me up! Lock me up! Why did you let me get to him? He's sick!
The courtroom security quickly grabbed a hold of her, and many others escorted her out of the courtroom. Security also escorted Rhodes out of the courtroom. Later on, when asked, she said that she could not control herself. I felt bad. I just couldn't take it. I just flipped out.
Ain't nobody gonna sit in court and hold their composure and have a demon turn around and laugh about them killing their kids.
Rhodes is the only defendant left to face a possible trial in this case. 3 others accused have taken plea deals, but Marie says she's determined to get her justice one way or another. My son told me what was going to happen to him. He knew this. I did everything I could to prevent it. Marie told interviewers Rhodes was an obscure rapper that tried to recruit her sons into a street gang, then murdered them after they witnessed a murder he committed. The authorities have also said that Rhodes' accomplices told the investigators that he made the children kneel and beg for forgiveness before stabbing them.
He made Maurice on his knees and beg for forgiveness. And he put a toboggan over his head, and he put a rag in his mouth. And then he stabbed him. We moved Maurice to the side, and we brought his brother, and we put the toboggan over his head. He put the toboggan over his head and put the sock in his mouth. And started stabbing too.
He made y'all stab him, so you can court him too? All right. How many times do you think you stabbed him?
I stabbed him 1 time.
Every Sunday you go to church and you pray and you try to forgive. The anger still builds up in your soul.
The judge issued the grieving mother a warning, instructing her to control herself or stay home. Rhodes had pleaded not guilty to the charges against him, which are murder and assault. Not only that, but Rhodes allegedly sent a threat towards the judge and her family, saying, "Don't you think I'm going to find out where you live at? You got family? I'll be out." Rhodes is now behind bars, and Marie got the justice she was seeking. We hope all 3 families in today's video find some sort of closure after the horror they went through.